Hey there, I'm Jer, and welcome back to the C4 Restoration Diary series. So I'm gonna finally get my rear tire fixed on the C4. It's been flat for years, but before I need to do that, I have to jack up the car. And it is a little bit of a mystery for some people of how to jack up a C4. So I was gonna try to do something different and actually jack up the car in the correct location on the car, and actually didn't go well at all. I ended up cracking a little bit of the body panel, but don't pay attention to that. Pretty much the way it works on a C4 is anywhere in the area of the jacking locations. If you're on a pinch weld, you can use that for a jacking point and for a jack stand. So let's just get under the car and take a look.
So I'm down here on the ground because I'm gonna finally, after 3 years, I'm gonna finally get this tire off and get the valve stem replaced on it so it doesn't leak anymore. That way I can at least move the car back and forth on a regular basis. So that's better for the transmission and the brakes and all that stuff. So that way it gets actuated and doesn't dry out everything inside the car is bad. So first of all, I got to jack up the car. Let me just jack it up, because already sticking my head under here, I'm seeing some big problems that might be related to my issue with the engine running smoothly. So I don't think I've ever noticed before, because I've never had enough light down here, that there's these little triangles right here and right here on my car. And that's probably where the sticker was that said, hey, jack point here. But remember, that is actually not where you jack the car. Where you jack the car is not on this piece of plastic. I don't know if you can see. So not this piece of plastic, but actually the piece of metal right behind it. That is the pinch weld. That's where you want to have your jack attached to. So there's a pinch weld special lifting thing that you can put on a bigger jack, which I have, but I don't have the big jack for it. So that kind of sucks. So let's see if I can demonstrate how this is supposed to work without breaking anything. Ooh, cracked. Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah, that was not good. It just cracked that. There we go. There we go. I think it's working. There we go. Okay. Okay, car's off the ground. Gotta get the tire off. It just so happens I'm right in front of my tools for once. Because this is the side of the garage that I'm supposed to be working on cars because it's next to my tools, but it never works out that way. Oh, jeez. Oh, my gosh, how tight is that? Now I can use the impact gun. Oh, and the other thing you want, moving the car back and forth is for flat spots on your tires, because it's been sitting here for a while. Okay. All right. Off. I don't know. Okay. That's where I should have jacked it up, was right there. Ooh. Ugh. This is where I should have put the jack. Right there on that pinch point. So either of these pinch points, these pinch weld things, you can jack up or also put a jack stand on. So that's where I'm going to put my jack stand. Duh. Duh. Well, after much finagling, I finally got this thing in place. Okay. I don't even want to put my head under here until I get this thing on a jack stand. Okay. It's not moving. Okay.
So trying to do it right was actually a little bit of failure on my part because I had the wrong style of jack. It would have worked with the right style of jack. So that's a little bit of a failure on my part.
Lots of wet stuff going on down here. Lots of wet over there. For some reason, lots of wet over there. That's not good. What is going on up there? Why is this so wet? I mean, look at the muffler. It's all wet over there. What in the heck is going on down here? Why is it all wet over there? Look how wet that is.
Oh my gosh, where's all this mess coming from? Is my fuel pump leaking? Are my brakes leaking? Let's take a look.
Not seeing anything wet in here. That doesn't appear factory correct. Like everything else in here. Oh yeah, it's definitely been wrenched on. There's marks on there. What else is wrong with this car? So these fittings go in and out and underneath the car. Yeah, see how it's all wet on the top in here? It'd be like shooting at the top of the at the top and then dripping back down. Huh. But I think it's doing it on the other side and not this side. I guess if I hook the battery up and pressurize it, I might see a leak maybe. All right. Let's see what's going on down here. Wow. I need to really get under here. That could be the differential leaking. Throwing it all over. It's still super wet. Gosh dang it. Look at all that.
Well, my current guess is that it's the pinion seal on the front of the differential that's leaking. So yay! More stuff to fix on the C4. The good news is I'll get a lot of practice doing this on other cars first. Both my Tri-5s and my old truck need the pinion seals replaced on those, so I'll do that procedure on those first because it's actually a complicated process. It's more than just replacing a seal. Most shops do this wrong, so of course most people do this wrong, so I'll have to get some better tools and, well, I'll have to get some measurement tools to do this properly and figure out how to do the crush sleeve and all that stuff sometime in the future whenever I get to replacing the pinion seal on this thing. The good news is I did get the tire off and I was able to take it to the shop to finally get that valve stem replaced so my tire will hold air now. In other developments, the rear hatch came back from the tint shop. So let's go ahead and check this bad boy out and see if I can install it.
All right, have the glass home now. I brought it inside to let it heat up. Hopefully in a couple days, little things like get it at the right angle here. So here, there. See a little air bubble right there? Things like that. So those are supposed to go away with like evaporation. So if those little things don't go away in a few days or maybe even a week or so, then that means they screwed up and didn't clean the glass properly, because that happened with my Fiero. So hopefully this won't be a big deal and it will all work itself out just fine. So stuff like that. Some more here, because the phone wants to focus on this stuff in the background. That's the reflection. Yeah, so hopefully that will all work out just fine. I believe I got 20% tint.
Yeah, I forgot about this part where you're supposed to wait a few days for the bubbles to go away. So let's wait a few days to see if they go away before I try to put it outside of my freezing garage. All right, it's the end of 2024. Let's fire up the old C4 cash incinerator and see how much I spent on the C4 thus far. So there's no totals for 2023. I spent $0 on the car. It was just parked the entire time in my garage. And in 2024, I didn't spend a ton, but I did make some progress with the C4. One of the things that I did was I found that car that was being parted out locally and got a lot of good trim, and the rear window, the rear hatch window for the C4. I don't remember exactly how much I spent on all that stuff, but let's say that was around $100. It was probably less, but I honestly don't remember, and I'm sure my totals are actually lower than what I've spent on the car, so let's call that $100. Then I got the hatch tinted. So to get the rear hatch tinted, that was $188. And then I found another great deal on Marketplace for some wheels, some C4 wheels. They cost me $180. So total for 2024, I've spent actually some decent money on the car, $468, and the car still doesn't move. What can you do? So grand total, what I've spent on the C4 thus far, when I first bought this thing back in 2017, $8,178. So make sure you buy one that's already fixed for the same amount and save yourself the headache.
Maybe I can get this thing put in the car today. We will see. I never did see how the heck these things work. Does that just unscrew? Okay, well, there's a much easier way to remove the glass. If it's the identical setup, I didn't realize that thing just came off like that. I didn't realize it was that loose. Wow, that's like not good. That should be a little tighter, right? Is this one just as loose? No. I guess I can tighten that with Phillips. Yeah, so I didn't have to remove any of the trim. I could have just unscrewed those and the glass would have came right off. Duh. Okay, so now I want to test the light. So I just tested the light by doing a continuity test that it had resistance, so that means it's there. But I want to check all the bulbs before I throw this bad boy back on, because I would assume you unscrew that and that to get to it. And that thing will come off, and that's, I guess you can do that while it's installed on the car as well. So I guess that's not too hard to do. So I'm going to apply some voltage to that light and see what it does. Okay, well, that looks like it's working to me. I don't even know how many bulbs are in there, but that actually can be replaced pretty easily on the car just with those torque bit screws right there. So I'm going to tighten that down, make sure that one's tightened down, and I guess put this back on the car. So after all this time, it's been about a week or so, Like these, I could just pushed on one and it got even smaller. So these air bubbles are continuing to get smaller and smaller. So that does work to come back and put pressure on. Then I'm not seeing any big ones in. Oh, see, here's one here. If I push on that, oh wow, that just went away too. Wow, okay, so you just gotta be patient. Cool, all right, everything's going good. So I just had an epiphany of how I'm going to work on the car. I'm getting ready to put the window back in, and I got that all figured out. I'm just kind of being lazy right now, so I'm actually spending a lot of time I know this looks terrible in here, but I've been spending a lot of time cleaning and organizing the garage, and I don't have the window back in yet. Also, I kind of want to have another person help me. But before then, what I want to do is look at this just terrible interior. It's just so terrible. It's been, ugh. I used to run sound at my church, and the worship leader, the lady in charge of the music, we had speakers, and they were for monitors on the stage, so you can hear, and they were carpeted, just like, the inside carpet of a car. And they were blue, and she wanted to have them black, and she just spray painted them for like many years, because we carried those things, picked them up, moved them around all the time, and they got beat up really good, and hardly any paint came off of those things, and I was impressed. And I remember saying to her years later about that, and about how that was neat that she got that special carpet spray paint, because I didn't know there was such a thing as carpet spray paint. And she said, no, it's just regular spray paint. I'm like, what? So just regular spray paint held up for years on the carpet on those speakers. So I'm going to do that to this car. So before I get it all put back together with the hatch, because it'll be much easier to do with the hatch off. Well, it'll be less of a pain in the ass to cover up, because I'm going to have to cover up a good chunk of the car to make sure I don't get overspray on it. And I'll have to back the car out a little bit and have its butt hanging out in the garage and just go to town and spray paint it with just some black spray paint. And I bet you that will look so much better than this, because it's missing carpet in here. It's like literally, someone said this is mangy, a mange, where it's like it's losing its hair. Oh yeah, we're down to plastic now in here. This is literally the plastic. There's nothing left. So yeah, I'm just because I'm trying to do everything on the cheap with this car right now, just like I have with everything, because I need to make progress on stuff and not spend a lot of money on it. That's the whole point of everything with all of my channels. Is this car was not supposed to be a money trap. It was not supposed to be that way. Man, I saw today on Facebook, someone had a car for sale locally, like an 89, and it was white, and it was in pretty decent shape. The seats had a little bit of a tear in them, and that was it. The headlights were up, so I think they're stuck. But at least they're the newer lights. And he was asking like, I don't know, 69, 68, 65, something for it. Really good deal. That is less than I've spent on my car. So my goodness, this was not supposed to be a money trap. So I'm trying to do as much of this on the cheap right now to spread it out over the years, so it will be a little more cost effective that way, because I really I make zero money off the YouTube. And, I make a little tiny bit of money. Like, we're talking, you go out to dinner, you probably spend way more money for your dinner than you do, including the tip, than I do running this channel. And, it's a lot of work and I get nothing for it. But it's fun because I'm trying to offset the costs. So I get a $50 a month allowance for my cars, is what I'm trying to say. Before I get the window put in, now I need to get the car taped off and spray painted. Hell yeah. I'm gonna buy cheap spray paint too.
Coming up in future episodes, gonna spray paint that carpet and finally get that rear hatch installed. So if you want to see that debacle and how all that goes, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on the C4 adventure thus far. Have a fantastic day, and happy C4ing.